Today in our 2016 Lincoln MKX, we'll be installing the Roadmaster Universal High-Power Diode Wiring Kit, part number RM-152. The Roadmaster Hy-Power Diode Kit is a cost-effective and easy solution for when you're flat towing your vehicle behind your RV. It'll allow you to have the required lights as necessary by law in order to safely tow behind it, without having to worry about using magnetic tow lights or using bulb and socket style lights where you got to drill holes into your expensive taillight housings. This kit will work with both incandescent and LED style taillights, works without a problem there, and it uses your factory lights, so it's a nice clean look and your car functions just like it would normally. Alright, we already have our wires routed to the front of our fascia from when we did our base plate installation. Alright, so what we're going to do is we'll separate all four of our wires. Just peel them back a little bit here. Okay, if all four of those separated now, we'll take our connector. We're using a 6-pole round, and as you see it has a dust cover on here. Take the dust cover off, stick our wires in it, and slide it on back here, giving us our wires on the inside. We'll strip back all four of our wires a little bit. White wires are ground. Green wire will be our right turn signal and right brake light. Yellow wires are left turn signal and left brake light. Brown wires are tail lights. We'll take our 6-pole round here. We'll start with the left turn signal right here, so one marked LT. Take back our set screw a little bit. Stick in the yellow wire. Tighten down the set screw. Do our ground next. Right here, it's the one marked GD. And we'll stick the white wire in there. We'll do our taillights next. It's the one marked TM. That'll get the brown wire. And that leaves us with our right turn signal. So we'll find the one marked RT for right. And we'll tighten down the set screw. Okay, with all of our screws tight, we'll pull back on the wires, make sure they're all in there nice and secure before we slide our dust cover back on. And then we'll seal it to our connector with some electrical tape. Now, one thing I like to do with the electrical tape is go back down the wire to where our wire loom is that I already installed on it. This will just keep any dirt, debris, and moisture from entering. And it'll also hide the color wires that may stick out in our grill opening of our vehicle. And we'll just stick it here on the electrical mounting tab of our base plate. And we'll secure it with the provided self-tapping screws that came with our base plate. Get one started. And start the other one. Make sure it's nice, center, and level, and then we'll run them down all the way. Alright, so here's where our wire came up into our engine bay. We're going to take the other end of it now. I'm going to route it down through the engine bay, out towards the rear of the vehicle, making sure we avoid any moving parts or sources of heat. So we're going to come out next to the battery here and run it straight down. So we'll be able to grab it from the bottom. We'll go underneath and grab it and pull it on down a little bit, and then we'll route it better in the engine bay. We're going to start to pull it the rest of the way. Now that we have it down all the way, we'll go back to the engine bay. Just route it to the side of our air box. That way we can still easily change our air filter. And we'll route it to the side of our battery here. So we'll just have it tucked in right here. Maybe secure it with one zip tie right here just to help hold it up. So we'll just go to this wiring bundle. Now we'll go underneath the vehicle and route it to the back. Once I have it done, I'll show you how I did it. Alright, so our wire we have secured up to our bracket here that holds our fuel lines up with a zip tie. This is right behind our engine where it dropped down. Run over this brace for the subframe. Then we have it hid underneath this panel. Comes out over here. One along the side of the vehicle here. Underneath another panel. Have the wire secured up here for another zip tie to the filler neck for the fuel tank. Brought it up over the rear subframe. Underneath our heat shield for the muffler, this will protect the wire from heat. And it comes out behind the muffler right here, where we'll bring it up inside our vehicle to taillight housings. Before we do that though, we're going to take our wire, just like we did on the front, and we'll separate all 4 of the individual wires as far up as we possibly can. All right, with those separated, we'll now lower our vehicle down and bring them up behind our taillight assemblies. Okay, with our hatch open, we have access to our taillight assemblies. There's a plastic cover here. We'll just pop this off. We'll gain access to the screw that holds it in. Okay, it's a T25. Let's take the screw out. We'll need to pull this panel back a little bit. Some trim panel clips that hold it in place. We'll just pop those out. Use a plastic trim panel tool to work the taillight towards the back. Okay. Once you have it popped loose of the 3 pins right here, we can undo the electrical connector, push on this lock tab here, separate it, and we'll set our taillight assembly aside so it doesn't get damaged. With our taillight disconnected on the driver's side, we'll repeat the same process for the passenger side. All right, now we have our headlights turned on so we can determine which wire is for our taillight signal. Okay, so this bottom right one here is our taillight signal, and that's the purple and teal wire. So we'll write that down and remember that. Okay, so it's the top right here, which is our white and orange wire. So we'll write that down as well. Now we'll turn our headlights off and have someone step on the brakes in the vehicle so we can find out which wires for our brake lights. Okay, now it's our one here in the top right corner, which is our white and teal wire. So we'll write that down. Now on our right hand side, it's this one here, top right, which corresponds to a purple and gray wire. So we'll write that one down. We'll know which one controls the brakes on this side. Since we're treating our vehicle as a trailer, the brakes and the turn signals will be combined lighting. All right, now we need to use a pull wire to bring our wires up. So we'll just go in a gap between the body and the bumper, push it on down. Okay, so we have our wires here. We'll just tape them to the pull wire. Now we'll pull them on up into our vehicle. We'll remove our pull wire now. Wires there, leaving us the 3 that we need for this side. All right, now we'll unwrap some of the factory tape and loom that covers up our wires here, so we have some wire to work with. Okay, with that unwrapped, we'll cut off the excess loom here. We'll start with our turn signal and brake light wire. So we'll find our white and teal wire right here, and we'll cut it right in the middle. And we'll strip off the insulation on both ends. We'll fold the wire in half to make it a little bit thicker so we get better contact with our connectors that we're using. Take one of our diode packs, we'll take the terminals off of them. Place a terminal on each end of the wire, and we'll crimp them in place. Now we can take our diode pack, plug the output side towards the connector, and the other side towards one of the inputs, doesn't matter which one. Now we'll take our yellow wire here, cut off about how much we're going to need, and we'll strip off some insulation here. Take our other connector, put on the wire, crimp it down, put that on the other input. Okay, now we'll take our purple and teal wire. This is our tail light circuit. Cut in the middle and strip back both ends like we did before. Take another diode pack. This time we'll take the one that has a yellow connector on it. As you can see, it has 2 blues and 1 yellow. We'll use both blues right now. Take our diode pack, one of the inputs, and the output goes towards the connector end again. Now we'll measure off how much we need for our brown wire. Cut off the excess. We'll strip off both ends of the insulation this time. And we'll twist these two together. And we'll put our yellow connector over that. And we'll crimp that down too. And we'll plug that onto the other input side, just like so. The other end will extend out a little bit with some more wire that we have laying around. Our white wire here we're going to be using as a ground. So what we'll do is we'll measure off how much we're going to need. But here will be plenty. Strip off some of the insulation here. Slide on the ring terminal that's with the kit, and we'll crimp that down too. Now we'll attach this to the vehicle sheet metal with the provided self-tapping screw. We'll just go down here and go to sheet metal. And so we'll strip off the end of our brown wire that we found to extend and the other end that we already have connected to the diodes. And we'll fold the wire back on itself, and we'll use the provided yellow butt connector that comes in our kit. And we'll crimp these guys down together, and then we'll wrap our connection in some electrical tape. If you need to purchase any electrical tape, we do have some available on our website. Now we'll tape our extended brown wire to our pull wire here, and we'll feed our end of our pull wire down the same path that we originally used to bring it up. All right, now we'll drop down our pull wire on the passenger side. Now we'll tape our green and our extended brown wire to our pull wire, and we'll pull them on up. Cut off our little bit of the excess wire here and our pull wire. We have the wires we're going to work with now. Just like we did on the other side, we'll move some of this loom. Okay, now we'll start with the green wire first, and that goes to our gray and purple wire. So we'll cut this one right in the middle. Strip back some insulation. Fold our wire back to double it up. Stick on one of our connectors. Crimp it down. Same for the other end. Take our diode pack. Output goes towards the connector end, and the other end goes to one of the inputs, doesn't matter which again. Take our green wire, measure off about how much we're going to need, cut off the excess, put on a connector, put on the other input. Okay, now we'll do our taillight signal, which is the white and orange wire. All right, take our last diode pack here. Output towards the connector once again. One of the inputs for the other wire. That leaves us with our last wire. And plug that in the input. Now we'll just try to lay our diode packs down in this gap here and reconnect our clip that we popped off. Make sure we have enough room for our taillight assembly to go back in. Grab our appropriate taillight assembly, this being the passenger side. Reconnect it, pop it back into place. Make sure our pins line up, and we'll reinstall the screw. Okay, with the screw back in, put the cover back on. And back on our driver's side now. Make sure our connector's in. All right, with everything reinstalled, We can now test our lights to make sure they work. All right, so we'll start off in our vehicle. We'll turn our headlights on. And as you can see, our factory tail lights work. Do a left turn signal. Do a right turn signal. That's working. Step on our brakes. So now we verified our factory functions work appropriately. All right, we got our vehicle plugged into the umbilical and a trailer simulator. Turn our tail lights on. Now we'll try our left brake light, which will also work as our turn signal. Now we'll try the right. And that completes our installation of the Roadmaster Universal High-Power Diode Wiring Kit, part number RM-152 on our 2016 Lincoln MKX.
Click the link below to shop, learn more, or visit us at etrailer.com.